and seas under the whole heavens, to establish a weight for the wind, and apportion its waters by measure. When he made a law for the rain, and a path for the thunderbolt. Then he saw wisdom and declared it, and prepared it. Indeed, he searched it out. And to man he said, Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding. And that's why the Bible tells us that to fear God is the beginning of wisdom. Because only in God is true wisdom found. Every other type of wisdom will fail. But in God, we find true wisdom. Amen. Amen. And the Bible tells us in this Proverbs chapter 28, verse 7 to 28, that we do not find wisdom in the land of the living. It goes on to tell us about the benefits of wisdom, what wisdom can do for you. And it tells us that there is no precious stone, diamond, ruby, topaz, silver. There is no precious stone, there is no precious metal that can be compared to wisdom in value. Amen. Amen. That's why wisdom is the most important thing a person can have. If you lose your clothes, if you lose your car, if you lose your house, if you lose your degrees, your certificates, and everything you've labored to have in this world, it's fine. Those things can be restored. But by all means, never lose your wisdom. Because wisdom is important. With wisdom, you can gain back everything you've lost. If it's money you've lost, with wisdom, you can gain it back. If it's your ministry you've lost, with wisdom, you can gain it back. If it is your marriage you've lost, with wisdom, you can gain it back. There's still hope. Amen. Amen. But if you lose wisdom, you've lost everything. Because every other thing you've labored for will crash. So wisdom is very important. Amen. Amen. So in that Job chapter 28, we see that wisdom has its own path. And it is through wisdom that God created everything we see. The Bible tells us that the earth was crafted by wisdom. The Bible tells us that the path of thunder and lightning, it was designed by wisdom. The Bible tells us that wisdom has its own path that the world does not know. Even the eagles and the falcons of the air, they do not know that path. You see, the philosophers, like we see in Job 28, the wise men of this world, they do not know the path of godly wisdom. Only God knows the path of wisdom. Amen. Amen. So God's wisdom, it beats human understanding and natural logic. God's wisdom is found only in God. Amen. Amen. The seventh point about wisdom that we need to understand, the seventh attribute of wisdom, is that wisdom, godly wisdom, can appear foolish. Godly wisdom can appear foolish. It may sound foolish, it may appear foolish, but nevertheless, it is the wisdom of God. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. First Corinthians chapter 1. I'll be reading from verse 27 to 30. Are we here? 1 Corinthians chapter 1 from verse 27. It says, But God has chosen the foolish things of this world to put to shame the wise. Amen. So that is part of God's strategy. That is part of God's wisdom. He uses the foolish things of this world to put to shame those who think they are wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things that are mighty. That's another strategy of God. Sometimes God uses things that are weak to defeat even great things. Like the story of David and Goliath.